Hey everybody, Matty Ice here, and in today's video I'm going to be taking you through the Birthplace of the Birthplace of the Vile Grandmaster Nightfall. Now in this Grandmaster, ideally you would want to have at least one person on Void or Stasis to help kind of mitigate the adds that are all around, because the add spawns are what really going to give you trouble here. Now I'm actually on a Void Warlock, we have a Void Titan as well as a Void Hunter, but there's pretty much any good combination of Void and Stasis will do you right here. Now, what you want to do is when you sparrow through to this early section, there's a lot of adds and 2 overload champions. You want to make sure you stun the overloads and kill as many of the adds as possible on that jump up, because that's where they're most vulnerable and kind of clustered together. It makes it really easy to deal with them all there. When you get to the next section, I like to hide behind this rock here. It gives you good cover, and you want at least one of your teammates taking out the snipers in the back, since they're going to be able to hit you the hardest and do a lot of the damage. I also like to focus the big boss first, and then if you're running Lucent Finisher, finish the Unstoppable Champion just to get that heavy ammo back. Now for this first plate room here, if you have a Bubble Titan or a Well Warlock, just some kind of good defensible super, go ahead and put that person on the plate and everyone else is on ad clear duty. The main threat here are Screeves and the Void Grenades from the Scorn. You want to make sure you just defend that plate as much as possible, and if you need to, go ahead and have somebody go onto it and die, just because you just really need to defuse that plate. Ads are going to keep spawning continuously until you finally finish that plate. Now the next area is going to be what I like to call door fighting strats. This is going to be a recurring theme throughout this Grandmaster, so I like to kind of tunnel up in the doorway and just fight and use the door frame as cover, and you're going to see that as a recurring theme here. You're going to keep making your way through till you get to this next area. This next area, again, you got door fighting strats. There's a little area off to the right you can jump onto to kind of hit them from the side, but I personally like to stay grouped together here. You do have to worry about the grenades getting thrown at you, but as long as you pay attention to those, you should be safe. And with the Void Overshield from a Void Titan, you can actually survive a grenade long enough to get out pretty quickly. Alright, once you finish that off, you're going to go into the first little intermission area. You will see this again during the boss fight, and it's nothing really all that special. Just, kill all the Screeves and the Scorn. When you get to the jumping puzzle part, send one person forward to activate all the Screeves and adds, while the others remain backwards just in case they have a jump fail or a Screeve gets in there without you knowing. And then once you clear that initial wave, the other people can catch up. Also feel free to finish the overload at the end for that free heavy ammo. Once you've made it back through, it's time for Plate Room 2, Electric Boogaloo. And in this one, you've got 2 unstops. Go ahead and just kind of melt one as quickly as possible, and then use the other one to finish for heavy ammo. Again, Lucent Finisher is your friend throughout most of these Grandmasters, so I definitely highly recommend it. I like to start with the plate on the right from your entrance. It's the one that's higher up. This one's just a little simpler as the adds kind of come from 2 directions. Like 90% of them come from straight in front of you and have to jump across. The other 10% spawn at the bottom of these stairs. So there's a few Screeves and a few Scorn that spawn down there, but for the most part this is pretty straightforward. Just as before, keep somebody on the plate and just hold it until it's diffused. Make your way to the second plate, and unlike me here, actually wait for your team to catch up, as the adds spawn on 3 different sides of you, so it can be a bit hard to defend by yourself. Void grenades, vortex grenades are very much your friend, but again, if you've got a Bubble Titan, just have that Titan slam the bubble down on the plate, and you'll be set. Once you've made that through, it's time to get one more Unstoppable Champ out of the way, and then you're going to go to the second intermission area. Once you're in the second intermission area, you can go left or right, it doesn't really make a difference. Just watch out for these stasis Scorn guys. There's one on each side, and the one that's on the opposite side will chase you, so just be careful that they usually sneak up behind you in my experience. Otherwise, you're just going to kind of keep fighting your way through until you get to the Overload Sniper at the end. Again, finish him for heavy. It's pretty simple to get this one, it's free heavy for you. Alright, once you're back through, you're going to go to another area that's got like a bunch of adds in the doorway, so more doorway fighting. And there's going to be 2 overloads at the end. Once you've cleared enough of the adds, you can actually make your way through and jump up to the left. There's a nice little platform here that gives you some height advantage and some cover, and it's just pretty simple to get those guys from there. The next big area is a bridge here. You could do doorway fighting, but I actually prefer to go out on the bridge and use the sides as cover. You want to melt the 2 bosses here as quickly as possible. There's going to be 2 bosses, a lot of adds, and then 2 unstoppable champions. The main thing you have to worry about here are the unstoppable champions teleporting and kind of blindsiding you. You'll see that here in a second. So once you've cleared out all the adds and the bosses, you make your way up enough to where you're at the last pillar and the unstoppables will start coming after you. As I said before, the unstops can teleport and just, kind of mess you up there, so just keep an eye out for that. Especially if you've stunned them, they can teleport out of stun and just kind of wreck your day. Alright, once you're in the boss room, you just have to make sure you manage the flow of the fight here. The first wave is going to have an overload champion they have to deal with. I like to throw a vortex grenade on the ad spawn to try and gather them all together and kill them as quickly as possible. But you want to focus down that overload so that you can just melt them as soon as they spawn, and then you can worry about doing damage to the boss and killing all the ads. Once you've done enough damage to the boss to get the first health gate, you're going to go back to the first intermission zone. Kind of the same as before, just make sure you finish the overload champion at the end, off to the side, because that portal instantly spawns. So you can get that heavy ammo, and then make sure you jump back in together. You want to jump back in together at the same time because there's going to be an unstoppable champion that spawns as soon as you jump through. So you want to make sure you stun and kill them as quickly as possible, just like you did with the overload. Again, kind of the same thing, rinse and repeat here. Kill all the ads, do damage to the boss, and go to the next intermission zone. Once you're in the second intermission zone, it's going to be just like before, go left or right, and again, just make sure you finish the champion and jump through the portal at the same time. Once you're through, there's going to be another overload champion that spawns. Again, this is the final phase, so just melt that overload as quickly as possible, and then begin clearing ads and dealing damage to the boss again. If you've got your supers, feel free to just blow them here. No point in saving them after this point. If you have somebody on your team go down, the main thing you need to worry about is just surviving, so you can get some attention off of your other surviving teammate, and hopefully pull the ads' attention. You also want to make sure that if you have an invis hunter, you can let them do their job. Their job is to res your teammates if they're down, because they can smoke themselves ideally, and the resable teammate. Otherwise, you're just going to melt this boss and finish your Birthplace of the Vile. I hope this helps you out. If it did, I would greatly appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. It really does help the channel out. Also, feel free to comment or join the Discord if you want help for any of the Grandmasters this season. With that being said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.